It was late one night, and I was lying beside her in bed when my phone buzzed with a notification. Out of habit, I glanced at the screen, a new update on her Instagram story. I tapped it open. There she was, posing confidently with a wine glass in hand, her trademark smirk on full display. Bold white text was splashed across the photo. A man who can't stand tall beside a powerful woman was never a man to begin with. The words hit me like a quiet slap. I looked over at her. She was still awake, casually scrolling through her own phone like she hadn't just broadcasted a passive-aggressive challenge to the world. No mention of it. No conversation. Just that post, hanging unspoken between us like a silent ultimatum. And I knew exactly what she meant. Things between us had been crumbling for a while, not with shouting matches or dramatic confrontations, but through constant low-grade tension. Our battles were subtle, snide remarks, interrupted conversations, eye rolls in front of friends. The dismissiveness crept in slowly. She would cut me off mid-thought, ridicule ideas I cared about, or make sarcastic jabs at things I loved. At first, I admired her fire, her drive, her confidence, the unapologetic way she owned every space she entered. That boldness had pulled me in. But over time, that same energy began to feel suffocating. When I showed frustration, I was labeled too emotional. If I disagreed, I was accused of being intimidated by her strength. The very qualities I once admired had started to feel like weapons. That story she posted wasn't just a quote. It was a declaration. A coded message aimed at me. She believed I wasn't living up to her standard of masculinity. But what she refused to acknowledge was how exhausting it had become to be her partner. She wanted someone who could keep up, but in her world, that meant enduring her cutting sarcasm and bearing the weight of her moods without faltering. Anytime I tried to open up, she shut me down with dismissive phrases like, "Don't be soft," or, "A real man wouldn't take it personally." Her words didn't just sting, they invalidated. Then came the breaking point. We were at a mutual friends gathering when she decided to poke fun at my attempt to fix the bathroom sink. She laughed about how I'd watched tutorial videos and still fumbled the job. The group erupted into laughter. I smiled politely, but inside, I felt humiliated. What no one knew was that I'd spent hours trying to fix it because she insisted we didn't need a professional. Later that night, I brought it up, calmly. She looked at me, smirked, and rolled her eyes. "Seriously? You're bothered by that? Grow a spine." That night, I didn't return to our bed. I made a choice to sleep on the couch. Not because she asked, but because I couldn't bring myself to lie beside someone who seemed to take pleasure in belittling me. In the days that followed, everything looked clearer. She didn't want an equal. She wanted control. She didn't want a partner to build a future with. She wanted someone to validate her dominance. And I no longer fit that mold. Still, I gave it one last week. A final chance. I waited for her to reflect, to recognize the damage, to meet me halfway. But instead of softening, she grew colder. More cryptic posts. More digs laced into everyday conversations. More silence when I tried to talk. Then one day, I noticed something missing, my favorite scarf. When I asked, she casually replied that she'd thrown it out. "It looked childish," she said. No discussion. No concern for how I felt. That was it. I quietly packed my things. There was no shouting match, no dramatic exit. Just a simple note left on the kitchen counter. You wanted someone to match your strength. I needed someone to stand beside me, not above me. Goodbye. I blocked her on every platform that night, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. I needed space to breathe, to rediscover who I was without her voice constantly drowning out mine. The days that followed were heavy, but liberating. I moved into a modest apartment, dusted off hobbies I had long abandoned, and reconnected with friends she had slowly pushed away. For the first time in months, I could breathe deeply. I hadn't even realized how stifled I had become. Then, out of nowhere, a text came in from an unknown number. "I didn't realize how much I was pushing you away," she wrote. "I thought being strong meant staying in control, but maybe I ended up losing something more valuable." I stared at the message for a long while. but I didn't respond. Through that silence, I understood something I never had before. True strength isn't about overpowering someone or always being right. Sometimes it's about knowing your worth and walking away when someone refuses to see it. A few weeks later, I stumbled upon another one of her posts. Real strength uplifts. It doesn't tear others down. Maybe she had learned something. Maybe it was just more smoke and mirrors for social media. Either way, I had found peace in her absence. And I had no intention of looking back.